Hey guys, Lord here, back again with another review, and today we'll be taking a look at the Four Horsemen Studios Mythic Legions Urkku. So without further ado, let's get into it. Alrighty guys, as I said before, today we are taking a look at Urkku. He is part of the Mythic Legions line brought to us by the fine folks over at Four Horsemen Studios, and I'll be honest here, I don't know what wave this guy's from. I want to say 1.0. Correct me in the comments if I'm wrong. It's either that or Covenant of Shadow. I almost said Advent of Decay. That's not it. I would have bought him. But before we get into this review, I'd like to give a special shout out to my buddy Evil Villain. I will leave a link to his Instagram in the description below. He hooked this figure up, and a figure I'm going to check out tomorrow. So stay tuned for that. But please go check him out on Instagram. He posts all kinds of stuff. He's into Mode 2, Spawn, DC Multiverse, all the cool stuff that all the cool kids are into. So with that being said, right off the bat, I gotta say I'm glad Mythic Legions has survived long enough for the Four Horsemen to kind of perfect this line, because this figure has some jankiness to it, but you know, it was a gift, so I'm obligated to give it a full-fledged review. But starting off with the accessories, like I always do in my Legions reviews, at least now. I didn't do that before, but he has a sword. This is a long sword. The longer sword. It's got kind of the spiked hilt there, with the little spike on the end of the handle, and the very long blade. Shout out to Mr. Dennis Derby of the Mythic Legions Cabal over on Facebook for hooking up this sword. Evil Villain could not find this piece, so this is one of the pieces I managed to track down. It might not be exact. I don't think it is, but I don't really care. Could be the Black Knight's sword. That thing's worth $1 million. He also comes with a spear. The basic spear that most of these figures had in this first wave. Almost looks identical to the skeleton soldier spear, so there's that. And then last but certainly not least is this big old honkin' battle axe. It's got some paint on the grips there. It's got a spike and the two kind of doorknob pieces on the end, and of course you can take the spike out and put on an axe head. Now, I do not have the axe head. That was the other piece Evil Villain could not find, but I will get that eventually, either with an All-Stars release or somebody will have one and I'll get it from them. But that is it, other than the shoulder pauldrons and one of the brown straps that are already on him. Granted, I have two straps on him because you can't have a bare-chested guy with two massive shoulder pads without having the straps going across his chest like He-Man, because that's just how it's done, folks. There is no other way. Taking a look-see. Urkku, to my understanding, is an orc brute character, and kind of like a bodyguard. But he is cool looking. 1.0 as heck. Nothing we haven't seen, even on this channel. I don't have a lot of the older figures. The oldest one I had up until this point was Romulus, but it looks really cool. Just a green orc. Kind of surprised he wasn't in the last All-Stars wave, but I digress. So articulation on this guy, his head is on a ball joint, nice and tight. Shoulders move up and down, in and out. Standard Mythic Legion stuff. Elbows are on hinges. as well as swivels. He's got a swivel at the gauntlet. His wrists are on swivels with hinges, but I will say they are very loose. You can easily pop them out. So I might need to put a dab of clear nail polish in there or something to tighten that up a bit. It's funny, my aunt says I need to buy a stock in that, and she's probably right. He does have the ball jointed waist section. That does rotate as well. Now I will say this is not the same crotch piece that Evil Villain sent me. I do have the original crotch piece, and when I do invest in said stock of clear nail polish, I will probably put some on the hip joints here. But the crotch piece I got for this guy, I actually got from Four Horsemen. This is just like kind of a black colored crotch piece, because the hips, the swivel part anyways, was super loose on the original crotch piece, but the ball joint wasn't. Now on this crotch piece, the hip swivel is tight, but the ball joint was loose, so I put some masking tape on that, kind of bulking it up a bit, and now it's nice and tight. The waist swivel's kind of loose, but that's not that big of a deal. And then he's got this little loop-de-loop on his belt for a sword, which in true Overlord fashion came unglued. So I have to have Mr. Brian glue that, my dad. Which he's done that before on, I believe, Krona was the other figure that had that done too. So yeah, not really sure how it popped off. I did manage to get the sword in there, but came off anyways. He's got a forward and back in the hip, in and out. The in and out's a little loose. Not too bad on that side. What about this side? That's a little... This guy's not bad. It's the figure we're looking at tomorrow. It's a little bit worse than that. He's got a thigh cut, single joint at the knee. Get about 90 degrees out of that. He's got a swivel at the knee, then a hinge at the foot with a rocker and the swivel. And peg holes at the bottom of the feet for the stand he does not have. Nor needs. So there you go. That is Urkku in a nutshell. I'm probably not going to give these guys their accessories for the size comparison parts of these videos, just to keep things short and sweet. Keep it simple, stupid. But yeah, it's this is a cool figure. I really like this guy. I'm really thankful that Evil Villain hooked him up. I'm glad to have this guy. It's part of the collection. He's going to go right with, is it Varthog? Another green orc I have. I don't have a lot of orcs, period. Let alone green ones. Actually, I have more green ones than I do red ones, that's for sure. 2 to 1. But with that being said, let's take a look at some size comparisons. Taking a look at some size comparisons, here is Urkku, next to a couple of recent Mythic Legions figures that I've already reviewed on the channel. We've got the Mighty Arethyr and Malleus. And Malleus was from the last All-Stars wave. Arethyr was from his self-titled wave. And shout out to good old Chris from Four Horsemen for hooking up a new visor helmet piece for my Arethyr. But in true Overlord fashion, one of his ears is starting to come unglued. But luckily, it's just unglued, not broken. So it can be fixed. Up next, here he is next to a couple other Mythic Legions figures that I will also be taking a look at this week. We have the Mighty Khador, who's also from good buddy Evil Villain. So again, shout out to Evil Villain. And the Mighty Romulus from the Colosseum wave, I believe. And I think Khador's from Covenant of Shadow. I will say, it's kind of funny, I just realized this. Both of these guys are from the House of the Noble Bear. So I think they're about ready to kick the crap out of Urkku here. We better move on. And last, but certainly not least, got our two regulars. Brother Mandibulus, almost said the Mythic Legion's Brother Mandibulus. We already know that. He is from Advent of Decay, of course. And the Mortal Kombat 11 Spawn. And again, I gotta say, even though I did have a little hiccup with Brother Mandibulus, it's kind of crazy to see how these figures have evolved over the course of even what little time was in between the release of these two guys. So, with that being said, time to wrap things up. Some final thoughts. Overall, and while I'm stoked to finally get my hands on this guy, I gotta say, Mythic Legions, when they first started out, had quite a few issues that I'm glad to say they have pretty much omitted since then, especially with all the All-Stars releases, and even with the first one I ever got, Romulus, he didn't have any of these problems, and as far as I know, my buddy Evil Villain did not really mess with these a whole bunch, so these are pretty much straight out of the package, and they have a lot of looseness going on, particularly in the hips, where the wrists peg in. And for whatever reason, when I go to plug the torsos onto any other kind of ball joint other than the ones that they came with, they're super loose. Granted, I fixed a couple of those issues, but I think I'm going to need to hit these guys with some clear nail polish to kind of omit the other ones. But, again, these were gifts, and I am super appreciative of my buddy Evil Villain for hooking me up with these. I will leave a link to his Instagram in the description below, as long as I can. I think you can provide links to Instagram accounts in the description below. Either way, you can go hit him up, check him out. He posts a lot of cool stuff on there. He's into Spawn, Mode 2, DC Multiverse, all kinds of cool stuff like that. All the cool stuff, because that's where all the cool people go. To the cool stuff section of the toy aisle. And yeah, he hooked me up with this guy and Kador, who I'll be looking at tomorrow. So I would recommend you pick this guy up, but wait until they make an all-star of him, because that will have way less of the quality control issues that this guy has. Or this guy currently has. The hand thing will be omitted. The hip thing will be omitted. The torso thing it depends, but should be pretty good by the time they make an all-star of this guy, which I think will be relatively soon. Kind of surprised he wasn't in the last wave, but I'm sure he'll be in the next wave or maybe the wave after. I'm not sure how all that works. So, with that being said, hope you guys enjoyed this review. Don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button, and the notification bell so you know whenever I upload more reviews like this one. Stay tuned, we're going to be looking at Kador next because, well, I owe it to my buddy Evil Villain to review both the figures he sent me, and Mythic Legions get views on the channel. What can I say? What gets views for the channel gets views for the channel. It's not in my control! In case you haven't already, hit me up on Instagram for the live unboxing videos. All kinds of stuff at Overlord Productions. Almost forgot to tell you what it was. And in case you do miss them, I do upload them to IGTV afterwards, so you can watch them in the full train wrecked glory at your own leisure. And again, don't forget to hit up Evil Villain over there while you're at it. If the link in the description doesn't work, just look up Evil Villain and my followers. He's most likely in there, or he's liked one of my recent posts, because he is a loyal fan of the channel and friend of the channel. I don't really have fans per se, I have friends. I prefer that over fans, because trust me, I'm not Metallica. I don't deserve to call people fans. With that being said, as always, don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section below. Let me know what you think of this figure, if you want or don't want this figure, or if you're Jones for are going to pass on this figure, or going to wait. I know this guy's not cheap right now, so I would recommend you wait. Don't be stupid and pay ridiculous amounts of cash you probably don't have to pay someone's friggin' mortgage on eBay, because A, they won't stop doing it if you do that, and B, well, they can just go suck a lemon and kick rocks. How about that? T-Biz, I'm talking to you. And as always, don't forget to keep the comments civil. This world sucks enough as it is. Especially when you finally get one of the swords to go in the skull belt loops, or the little belt loops on these figures, and the damn thing pops apart. A little glue will fix that, but still, I thought I accomplished something. Either way, until next time, I'll catch you guys later.